Honk.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome, Arvanauts. Welcome, everyone, to a Sunday night stream. It is about 12 minutes after 7 p.m. Eastern, and I am looking forward to what I hope you folks will be looking forward to, which is a Sunday tabletop experience, a Sunday tabletop adventure of this game, Soundclash the Clampdown, designed by Brandon O'Brien and GM'd by Brandon O'Brien, and you're about to see Brandon and hear Brandon for yourself in just a moment, along with the amazing crew, the amazing players, the Clamp crew, I believe we called them. I think it's this. No, not the Clamp crew. The Clash crew. I believe it's exclamation point Clash crew, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, I'm going to double check. Clash crew. Yeah, it is Clash crew. So you're going to get a chance to see all these lovely folks in just a moment. But before we get there, just a couple of reminders about ways to support us here on the channel. If you haven't done so already, please consider following us here on the channel. That is always much appreciated, as is checking out our YouTube channel, exclamation point ArvTube. I have the previous session of Soundclash the Clampdown, which was basically session 0, where they created their characters and started getting the group together and all that, but getting the band together, basically. And today is where the adventure really begins in earnest. And so you can see that previous video and all videos that'll be in this series, plus the other stuff going on my channel over on, again, exclamation point ArvTube will give you a link to that. Exclamation point ArvCord is the Discord channel where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. And we also have, of course, my Twitter, which is exclamation point ArvTweets, where I tweet out about this and many other sessions and campaigns that we do throughout the course of the week. And this begins, as I'll talk about in just a moment, a very busy week on the channel for tabletop stuff, but we'll come back to that in just a bit. All of that can be found on the website, arvaneleron.com. On the financial side, exclamation point ArvShop is the merchandise area where you can check out stuff for Infinity and Beyond and for Adventures in Middle-earth, and soon to be Esper Genesis as well. Exclamation point ArvTreon is the Patreon. You can see that right below. 22 patrons with $2.25 per month right now. That's after fees and everything else. And so we are continuing to push for hopefully more support there, because that does make a difference and allows us to do different cool things in terms of what might happen down the line with, for example, new video intros and things like that. And you can also get stuff for yourself as well, copies of one of my band's albums, a epic poem or character background written for you and stuff like that, and of course inspirations to help the players in all of the tabletop campaigns. So supporting us over there really helps. Also helps if you sub to the channel, as Crit Twitch was just kind enough to do, getting the coveted year badge, I believe, now 12 months, so a full year. Thank you, Crit Twitch. And you can do that by clicking on that button right near the video window. Again, you have custom sub badges and emotes and things like that, plus inspirations that you can use, which is very helpful as well. And then last but certainly not least, on the publishing side, exclamation point Icarus is for information about the Icarus and Jelinek graphic novels, which have just been fulfilled to the Kickstarter backers that supported us last year. And that's going to be coming out from Athos in retail form. November 10th is the current release date for that. So please check out that link, because you should be able to still get a couple of copies that are remaining of those pre-retail editions. But thank you to all of those who have been tweeting pictures at me and stuff like that of it. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. And exclamation point library will get you a look at the Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library as well. My D&D 5e adventure and source book. You can find that over at DriveThruRPG, and soon coming in print edition as well, which I'm very excited about. Lastly, exclamation point Greyshade KS, which is my Greyshade Kickstarter. It has been pushed back to February 2nd of 2021, but it is going to be awesome when it arrives. Books, RPG, board game, audiobook, a lot of different stuff. So I'm very excited about that. That will be from Clarion Game Studios, and then a bunch of other people that I've talked about before, which are doing that as well. So please consider supporting over there. And last but certainly not least, arguably most important of everything I just said, is exclamation point BLM, Black Lives Matter. This is a link to a resource link which gives information about education, how to educate yourself, how to be a good ally, how to educate your kids, information about police reform and funding and things like that, and places, of course, to donate and support financially the various causes associated with BLM. And so this is serious. We're not joking around about it. We are continuing to put focus, and will continue to put focus on that on this channel. So please consider jumping on board with that as well. Now, this is the beginning of a big week of tabletop streaming for us here on the channel. We've got Soundclash the Clampdown tonight. Tomorrow, we have got Sod returning with a Grumbler's Guide to Temple of Elemental Evil, an old style, old school, Baldur's Gate-ish game by Troika, which are the same folks that did Arcanum of Magic Obscura, of Steamworks and Magic Obscura. Really awesome game I streamed on here a number of months ago. But Saad is going to be going through that game, Temple of Elemental Evil. And then on Tuesday, we have Adventures in Middle-earth. That'll be at noon Eastern. Then over on GOG, I'll be doing more of The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine. Wild Hunt Blood and Wine. Wednesday, we've got Community D&D with Shadowed Mage and the Shadow Crew. So we'll have that coming for you at 9 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. We'll be off on Thursday. Then Friday, we have Esper Genesis, my space opera game, sponsored by Alligator Alley Entertainment at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have got D&D with I&B. Infinity and Beyond makes its return with Curse of Strahd. So a very busy tabletop week, and it's going to be awesome and exciting, and I can't wait for more of it. But now the time has come for the Soundclash, the Clampdown crew. So I'm going to unmute myself and apologize to them in advance for having possibly interrupted an incredibly awesome conversation. And I'm going to bring them over right now and show you, dun dun dun, on Shadowed Mage's amazing overlay, what we've got for you today, which is this spectacular crew that is prepared to be brought through the beginning of their musical career, their advancement into musical career and achievement, and not at all an inevitable destruction, as Brandon told me he was going. I'm just kidding. No, he didn't say that at all. So that's what we've got going on.
Not at all.
I'm going to introduce you to a really awesome dude, Brandon O'Brien. I want to give you a chance to check out this person's work. And I want to also mention, by the way, I talked about this in the scroll, !BITD store will bring you over to Brandon's itch.io page, where we have links to the new Fugitives sheet that Brandon did and other stuff. So you should check that out and show Brandon some love, not just in poetry and writing and all the many things that Brandon does, but in the game design space as well. With that said, I'm now going to shut up and I'm going to hand things over to Brandon to introduce the players. Everyone have a good session, and Brandon, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us for what is our proper session 1 of Soundclash, the Clampdown. I'm so glad to have everybody here. I'm really excited to see whether entire portions of this game will eventually start falling out into my lap in piles of goop. But other than that, I'm just really excited to tell this story with really neat people. And that means I get to ask these really neat people to introduce themselves, starting with Valeria.
Hi guys, I'm Valeria. You can see me here every other Sunday. You can see me on the Off the Table every other Wednesday doing a Monster of the Week campaign. And you can hear me on podcast Kingdom Hearts of Forgotten Era, playing an interstitial actual play, and those are all super fun. And I promise you that I won't break your hearts with this character. I'm a liar. I'm gonna break your heart, but it's cool.
Next, Nathan.
Hi, hello, I am Nathan Blades, Nyarlathotep's more attractive younger brother. It's a pleasure to meet you all once again. You can find me here on Twitch at The Neon Caster, and I stream whenever the hecky I want, to be honest. Who cares about schedules? And I will be playing Oliver Hoshizora on this stream, a resident sad boy and theremin player.
Next, Katie.
Hello, I'm Katie, she, her pronouns. You can't really see me anywhere except here, really. I'm not that much on the interwebs, but I am on a podcast, so you can hear my voice playing Grace Chen in the Valence podcast, an urban fantasy audio drama. It is not an actual play podcast.
And last but not least, Amor.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Well, hey, I'm Amaraz. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on the internets everywhere at Amaraz, and I mean everywhere because I am too terminally online. Mostly on Twitter, where is the sort of central hub for my work. I do game design. I do streaming like here. I've got another one that will hopefully be starting next Friday if everything goes well. So keep an eye out for that announcement. I also show up on a bunch of podcasts, and I'm hopefully starting a couple. So fun stuff there. My biggest project right now is Chimera, which is a Powered by the Apocalypse game that blends genres together. All right, I think that's it. Back to you.
Oh, nice. So, I, your lowly stage manager this evening, Brandon, am very interested to tell the continuing story of these four characters who have not yet met each other but are about to embark on this beautiful journey of sound in our game Soundclash, the Clampdown. But first, the briefest of recaps for a single scene in which our history teacher, Eva Peron, witnessed her entire classroom burst into grief and confusion over the death of Minnie Blue several years before the action that is about to take place. A memory that just came spilling back after hearing one of Minnie Blue's songs on the radio just before a very inviting ad about a future Soundclash taking place very, very soon, and a very hefty purse and like an unbelievable amount of money being offered to the band that wins. That that recap and that momentary flashback and that very enticing offer took place yesterday, and now it is an entirely new day. It is the weekend, actually. Sometime in the middle of the morning, around like 10:30, 11. Not very hot, but the sun is very bright regardless. As the Clefs go about their daily weekend routine. And what does that routine look like for everyone around this time? I will start with River because we haven't seen much of a River yet in the action. What's River doing this late Saturday morning?
This late Saturday morning. So I'd say she did wake up pretty early. She lives in in her own little 1-bedroom apartment, but she packed up, has a little like box lunch made up, and she went to the park to read.
Is that a thing that she does often, or was this like this kind of like sudden, I'm just going to relax today kind of deal?
Yeah, I think it's going to be I'm going to relax today kind of deal. Sometimes maybe she would go do some deliveries. She has a delivery job for a restaurant she lives near. But it's one of those days where that doesn't have to happen. So she's gone to the park to read a book on some sort of theory.
No idea what that theory might be.
I don't know what it is yet. I'd say musical theory, but I'm not. Game theory. Yes.
Oh God. Yikes. Okay, duly noted. What is Oliver doing around this time?
Mm-hmm. So remind me what time of day it is again?
Around 10:30, 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning.
Yeah. I think this is the Hoshizora household like to do brunch on Saturdays, and weirdly enough, because you would figure Sunday brunches are the way to go, but it seems the entire household is actually busy Sunday mornings. So it's actually for as small as their house is, with sunlight kind of streaming through the kitchen window, they share a breakfast together. Oliver's parents, Colette and Akio Hoshizora, are currently grilling him a little bit on the fact that he apparently did not show up for the let's see, what specific school curriculum thing did he skip on Friday?
Shop.
No, he's a tech nerd.
Dang.
He'll do shop.
Definitely.
I think it is I think it's history. I don't think he likes history very much. So it's specifically the kind of like the British history at like high school. He's 22 though, so he can't even do that. I've put myself into a corner and how old this kid is. Okay. At university level, there we go. There's probably I know that in some of my years of university, I have signed up for courses like extracurricular, usually language stuff, and then realized that it was super hard and was like, well, I don't want to do it. I'm bad at the thing. So there's probably something that he got signed up to do and then was like, actually, this is terrible. I don't want to do this anymore. He was signed up for, I think, a sports class thing, tennis, let's say. Something real prestige-y. So let's go for tennis. And he skipped out on the Friday class of that. And he figured that he managed to get away with it. Nobody really noticed. Nice and easy. He only left his like tennis kit at home and did not pick it up. So it was really obvious to his parents that he skipped.
Yeah, it was always in the cards to skip. They just
I got away with the perfect crime, but no. So he's kind of having to explain his way out of that amongst shoving like toast and fried eggs into his mouth simultaneously.
Okay.
There we go.
So we've established your parents. Do you have any other immediate family members at home?
Oh, no, I think it's just the three of us. No siblings.
Okay. We will get back to that scene in a bit. Nachmat, what are you up to?
I'm having a multi-layer moment of anxiety because I think like Saturday mornings are my times of like, I don't have any responsibilities. So I'm going to go sneak away and study my not at all issue noise rift that's in my secret cave in the park under the pond. So the multi-layers are one, there is someone at the park reading a book who might see me and I'm trying to keep a secret. So I'm just like pacing back and forth. I'm not good at sneaking. I'm trying to figure out how I can get there without being noticed. Two, I think my parents are calling me. I think my parents live in like a different neighborhood. Like I moved to this Hex for university. So we don't see each other in person much. Like I have to imagine that traveling between them is something that's controlled or that is a bit of a hassle in like our society, like moving between corporate zone to corporate zone.
Definitely. Each hex is border guarded with the intensity of trying to border guard an entire nation. It's actually really intense to move from hex to hex. There are conditions under which that becomes incredibly more lax. So like it's not like theoretically impossible for your parents to visit, but it does require so many unnecessary hoops that it's really kind of burdensome, especially depending on what kind of work you do or how old you are to ever like do those kinds of things.
I think it's gotten worse recently since I dropped out of my master's degree. So I've lost any sort of like ease being a student might have provided. So we talk like this is sort of one of the set times we have to just get a long conversation in. So I'm having this like back and forth, talking with parents, catching up, getting a like, oh, when are you gonna come see me? And trying to like, I don't think they know I've dropped out. So we're just talking and they're like, me trying to make up excuses of why I can't visit them because I don't have the student like permission to travel, but they don't know that. While also trying to figure out how to get to my pond. And I'm just walking back and forth in this park, pacing very fast.
So like, are you like literally on the phone right now?
Yes, literally on the phone right
now. That's hilarious. Because I imagine as a result, so this is your mother and your father.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that they've put you on speaker just so they can both talk to you. And like they're very insistently going like, you haven't seen us in so long. It's been ages. You have free time now. It's not like you're going to and your mother starts spelling out university as if afraid that saying the word is going to frustrate or anger you?
Well, no, I'm saying I don't think they know I dropped out. I'm saying.
Ah,
Yeah.
they don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
they don't know. So I'm trying to hide, like, because if I did, because they assume it's easy for me to travel, because they think I'm still going there. Like I have the student permissions.
Which is even worse because it means that you have the resources necessary to visit them whenever you please, with no drama whatsoever.
As far as they're concerned, yes.
Which means that your mother is instead asking, well, if you're not doing anything on a Saturday, why don't you come and see us now?
You know, classes just keep me busy. Baba, you did a master's degree. You know how busy you can get. Like I just don't have time doing private research, and I have to work with like 4 different professors just to maybe get a shot at getting a job once I graduate. It's just so hectic.
I know how it is, but I still made time to see my parents whenever I got the chance. We can help you do the work. I've dabbled in this kind of musical research recently. I know some people who have access to a lot of tools. They can bring them over to the house. You can do all of that study here.
You know that we just got in a new spectrum analyzer for measuring different wavelengths of the effects of the magic on the environment, and we have to set it up. And it's a really big piece of machinery, so it's got to be set up in the lab. Um, I'm just not gonna work out today.
And your mother sighs like for a period of time that is unnecessarily long for a sigh.
Yeah. I also feel like we've gotten a new piece of equipment in like 5 times in the last 3 months. Like it's my overused excuse.
Are you saying all this close enough that River can hear you?
100%.
Okay. So
I'm not good at sneaking things.
River does go to the school, and she knows that all this equipment isn't coming in, but okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to stay out of your business.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say that this conversation is actually not taking place very close at all.
Oh, okay.
It's actually like River is actually hearing this as a combination of like the kind of accidental eavesdropping when the only person talking around you is one other person.
Yeah.
Plus the anxiety that you're giving off at this point is so intense that you're literally drawing attention to yourself at this point. So your father is now like, well, I would like to see it at least. Can you at least sign some papers like the last time so we can come visit you at school instead? And you know for a fact that signing those papers is a thing that would have been easier for you if you still had your university ID.
Yeah. And beyond that, it also means that I would have to either fake them not getting to the school or fake a tour of a school I no longer go to. You know what? I'll take a look and see if it can be done. Their things have been busy at the admissions office and stuff. But I can look, sure.
We'd appreciate that at least. We miss you. It's been so long.
I miss you too.
Well, if you have to get back to work, I guess we can talk another time. But please don't, like, your mother gets worried sick about you. Please call or something every once in a while.
Okay. Yeah. I'll try my best.
Take care. We love you.
Bye. I love you too.
They hang up. I very idly, I want you to do me a favor and roll 1d20 for me. This is how we're going to do fortune rolls. Fortune rolls technically function the exact same way many other rolls do in stuff like Blades in the Dark, but because of the nature of dice in Soundclash, I get to tell you what kind of die you roll for maximum drama. That rule is subject to change, but that's how it's going to exist right now. So roll one straight d20 for me.
That's a 19.
Ooh.
19. In the scale of dice rolls for Blades in the Dark, rolls that are 17 or rolls that are 18, 19, or 20 are considered straining. Straining is the act. Straining in the rules of Soundclash is um, mechanically the equivalent of overdoing it. So I'm going to say, because the thing that I wanted this fortune roll to determine was whether something was going to be mildly anxiety, and whether some new source of anxiety was going to emerge in this moment. And you hear it because you're accustomed to hearing it at this point. You're accustomed to literally knowing the acoustic fluctuations from the cave, from anywhere near the pond, even though it's actually quite imperceptible. But you also have like equipment on you that is obviously picking it up and obviously signaling to you, hey, a thing is happening. You know for a fact that there is a noise anomaly taking place, if not in the cave, so close to where you are that the size of that signal is telling you it should be within walking distance of you.
Okay. Oh gosh. I mean, I think if I see that.
No, continue.
So I think if I see that, I will momentarily ignore all sense of caution and head towards it.
River, I need you to give me any kind of roll that would determine whether you notice this or not. I'm not going to tell you what roll it is because I want you to tell me what you think that roll might be out of the available actions that you have on your character sheet.
Looks like I could open my mind to the spell song's harmonic power.
You can very well attune if you would like to. Is that what you would like to roll?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also because I noticed this this person very animatedly talking stressed out to their phone. So it's like I was listening over there and then suddenly like they stopped and like left or something. I'm like, huh, that was weird. Is there something in the air? And then like whoops.
Okay. So how many action dots do you have in attune?
I have 2 dots.
Okay. So how this roll will work is you will add +2 for each action dot to your roll, which is +4. But you get to decide whether you're rolling a d12 or a d20 whenever you're rolling for your own actions.
I think a D12 is fine. I mean, it's just a casual day. It was an odd sight. I'm not really straining to listen in that hard. I'm no
so you will roll
Ellie.
So you will roll 1 d12 +4.
That is a 9.
A 9 is an average success, which you sense as a result, because at that point, at the point of attuning, you're not really paying attention to the person that you're seeing in the park very agitatedly trying to figure out which direction they're headed in. But you're noticing a very faint feedback that sounds like something that you remember. It doesn't sound the same way that the favorite alley in your area also generates noise, because the acoustics in that area shift sound in completely different ways. What you think you're hearing is noise that seems uninterrupted by reflecting off of surfaces or curved walls or anything like that. It sounds like you're hearing noise directly from a source that like is like not surrounded by buffering surfaces whatsoever. But you're hearing it very, very faintly. And you can tell obviously that it's not coming from the person that you're looking at. You can tell that it's you can tell because you can hear it that they can hear it too, and that's probably why they're agitated.
Okay. Yeah, River's gonna grab her like instrument, which is like I said a fiddle before, so it's still a fiddle, and follow along because what if that noise agitates some of the squirrels? You gotta solve that for the animals.
For that, I want you to give me another attune roll.
Ooh.
Are you still gonna roll a d12?
Yes, but that time I rolled a 1. Though, yeah, well, it's too late. I already rolled it before I considered it. But it's just a 5, which is a bad, I think.
5 is not good.
Yeah. Bring it on. What is it?
You take out your fiddle and you prepare to play.
No, I was picking it up and following the source of the noise.
Right. So that's what's going to happen, which is there is a moment as you're like walking towards it that the fiddle itself starts like picking up sound in a way that a non-electrical string instrument is just not supposed to. And it's like rattling in your hand, and like the sound that it's making very briefly gives you like this massive headache. Like it subsides almost immediately, but when it hits you, it feels like somebody hit you in the head with a cinder block, but there was no forehead or skull to buffer the blow of said brick. And that,
if it was
that
an
hits
anime,
you, like, very suddenly.
Yeah, if it was an anime, River would be walking, and it would have been one of those shots where the background goes dark and a single like
yes
streak, shoots across the screen. Yeah.
So you are briefly overcome with pain. Does anyone else notice that? Nakmat, you're still in this area. Do you?
Does River have any vocal reactions to this?
Yeah, I think she would cry out or something. She'd probably like drop her case, which is a major reaction, and just like grab her head for a moment and just go, ah!
Okay. Yeah, I think if you drop your case, then I would definitely like and scream that. I definitely like notice, and that would pull me out. And considering the fact that you are the only person here and I know you, I would probably react to that and just rush in your direction. There's a moment of me like stopping, processing that wasn't the noise, that was another person. Turning around. Oh my God, River, are you okay?
Nachmat, did you hear that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, not whatever did that to you, but I'm hearing the noise. Yeah, I was going to investigate it a bit. Are you okay, though?
I think so. It's not a consistent thing. It's probably just gonna go over eventually. You know when someone stubs their toe and it's definitely painful. I think.
Yeah. Here, let me help you with that. And I'm gonna reach down, like pick up the case that you dropped.
Oh my gosh! Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't believe I dropped it. Thank goodness it's in a case.
Yeah. There's a reason for that, right?
Yep. You think? Yeah. Do you have your instrument? You think we can close it up? I don't want this to affect anybody else.
Yeah, we can close it up in a minute. I was hoping to look at it, but first I have just wanted to take some measurements to better understand it, but closing it is fine too.
Measurements?
Yeah, like scientific measurements.
Interesting. You mean with all that equipment that the university offers?
Oh, you heard that?
Sorry, it's not that big a park.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't know will only hurt me and not them. But that's besides the point. Um,
Well, if you need
so,
access to like the libraries or anything, I mean, I still go there.
oh, thank you. I mean, they don't really have much there on the north. It's not really the reason I'm not there anymore. Is it's not really a topic they like us looking into. Um, but I figure if we can, understand that we wouldn't have to just run over with instruments to close it every time. We could maybe stop it from happening and hurting people.
I guess if your instruments can read something like that, I've never heard of whatever instruments like scientific instruments you're speaking of. All the labs at the school just, I don't know, read vibrations, frequencies. Nothing about the noise specifically. It's a bit of a dangerous subject.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously all of that information is useful. I'm just trial and erroring at this point, but I look. I don't. We probably shouldn't waste more time. Do you need? I mean, do you want me to help you walk you over to the bench or something, or do you want to come with?
I got my case. Yeah, we can go.
Okay.
I'll shake it off.
Yeah, at this point, I'll say at this point, like, you know how a brain freeze subsides?
Mm-hmm.
It subsided like that.
Yeah.
You are more or less ready to go at this point
Yeah.
if you
Cool.
want.
Obviously, we should tread carefully if
I'm
we're not that
already
close yet.
brisk walk pace.
Oh,
Mhm.
she silently follows along.
Does Nakhmat have any like tools on them that is capable of like determining the location of a source of noise? Or do you have a way that you read those tools that allows you to get a vague sense of exactly where a source of noise is?
So there are two options here. One, I can roll a tinker to see if I've been able to make something that successfully does that. Two is I do also have it's in the rider, which I can tell if something in my immediate environment has changed. I don't know if that would help me know where a rift might have opened.
That counts for me, which means that you would very naturally know where the source of noise came from.
Yeah.
Like the moment that you noticed it, you already knew or had a vague sense of the general direction of where it was coming from. So you know it's coming from like further inside the city where a great deal of like banks and like a great deal of where the general economic center of the cliffs is at this moment. But you like that general sense of where it's from is that it's leaning like just out of the edge of that economic district into a series of housing areas just like northwest of that district, which is like a handful, like a very short walk, like 10-20 minutes from where you are.
Okay, so that's perfect. So I think like what happens is we start walking, and as we're walking, I just stop and focus for a second. That's coming from inside the city proper. Come on, we gotta go fast.
Inside a building?
Not sure what's in the economic sector.
Okay. Don't know why it could be there. There's a lot of hustle and bustle. There's a lot of people there that could be in trouble. Let's go.
All right, off we go.
Okay. I'm just gonna say that you get there.
Oh, look, we're there.
And one of the things that very easily signals to you that you've arrived at your destination is that there are people like literally jumping out of taxis and running past you. There are like bank tellers and like you can see like folks in suits like descending very rapidly down the stairs of their glass buildings and rushing all the way out. and like all of, like the entire street in front of you is just screaming. People are incredibly panicked about a thing that you have not like seen yet. How do you respond to that reaction?
I know people don't like the noise, but that's a lot of panic for a normal rift, don't you think?
Oh, I haven't been around many rifts where there have been a lot of people, so this is all pretty new to me. Let's keep going. Now I'm curious.
So you're just going to like
You
follow
say now
from
I'm
the
curious?
point where
Sorry.
I do say now I'm curious.
Okay, I think that gets like an interesting note in my mind because like most people look at my curiosity at noise with like, that's dangerous, stop that. And you saying now I'm curious, like, good to know. Moving on.
So you're just going to like follow wherever you think people are running from. Okay.
Best way to get to the center of a problem is to go in the opposite direction of the fleeing people.
Somebody who's running.
Are there like birds in the sky flying away, scattering like the calamity of a disaster film?
Like the very strange thing about it is, like you can see some birds who are like, totally unbothered by the scene that is.
Yep.
Oh no, have we lost him?
They
We've
see
lost
people
our
running
statement.
past them.
Oh.
It's like, okay. There is a point where a taxi driver who has just like left out of his car and is running past you.
Brandon.
Literally.
Sorry to interrupt. You froze for a couple seconds. Would you mind summarizing the last couple things you said?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not know
No, it's
that
all good.
happened.
Technology is a curse.
Indeed. You notice that the birds in the area are not bothered by this obvious noise disturbance in the area. The only pigeons in the area that seem to actually be disturbed are being disturbed by people running past them. They are otherwise like totally unconcerned about the scene. A taxi driver who's running past you literally shouts, "Don't you know what's up there? It's one of those magic things. They're gonna destroy this entire city." And it's like running past you very, very eagerly. And like there is an obvious point where so many people have run past you at this point that you literally have no idea from further on where this thing might very obviously be, but you have a sense that it's inside one of the buildings directly near you at this point.
Okay.
Did you hear that? Magical city destroying thing. That would probably show up pretty well on your instruments.
I look at you. I just like, I should probably mention that I haven't tested these before. Here we go. And I.
Okay. So I'm just gonna say at this intersection that you're now at, you're standing like in the middle of the road by this intersection. And on the corners of each of these intersections, there is like an investment firm,
Cool.
a very large housing complex, what looks to be like an abandoned car park that has been like locked, and a bank that is presently closed. Their closing hours have long since passed. Well, not closing hours, they're presently on lunch, but the whole place is like, instead of just putting up the sign that says out to lunch, they just like closed everything. So yeah.
So I think what I pull out is essentially like I carry them in pieces because if I get caught, I don't like I don't want the corpse to know what I'm assembling.
Mhm.
But I pull out a tuning fork, a compass, and a amplifier. And essentially, in theory, the tuning fork is set to resonate with the noise's frequency. And so using that, I can pinpoint the direction the noise is coming from. But I need to pull that together.
Okay. Um, so you have to put it together live in front of us now for
Yeah,
that to work. Okay, that sounds like a tinker to me, don't you think?
I agree. I have one dot in Tinker.
Right. So you will roll either a d12 or a d20 plus 2.
Cool. I'm gonna go with a D20.
Okay.
Wow, I rolled a nat 1.
Woo,
Uh,
2 nat
well-
ones.
That makes your roll a 3, which is not good.
No.
3 is a failure.
Yes.
So what I am going to say, for the purposes of not destroying all of your tools because of a failure, because that would be cruel, is that in the moments when you're trying to assemble this, like very, very carefully, like your hands are shaking, things are not fitting the way that you are accustomed to putting them in, and just like before everything like finally slots into place, you hear like this loud gurgling noise coming from one of the buildings to your right, and it startles you, and everything is now back in pieces in your hands.
Okay. I also have to imagine like if I'm messing with an amplifier, whatever gurgling noise gets like amplified right in my face and just adds to the startling effect.
I will say, like, there's this loud "bwah" right in front of you, and like just at the moment when everything like pulls apart, that sound just like disconnects, like the jack that would have given you that sound just like immediately kind of plugs out.
Yeah.
So it's just like this very brief, very sudden gust of wind and noise, and then nothing.
Right. Oh, that's not good.
I like to imagine it made you look a little disheveled, just like
Oh yeah. I think Ahmed has just long, curly, wavy hair. That like got more on the curly side than the wavy side after that.
So, did you pick anything up?
Well, I was hoping to test it out on a smaller rift, not one that would scare a whole city. So that's a no.
Cool.
Well, do you have any solutions, or are you gonna just sit there and sass at me the entire time?
I mean, I'm not the one with the instruments.
I mean,
The
I point
scientific
at your
instruments.
yeah.
Maybe I should stop calling them instruments.
While all of this is happening, I do want to like briefly zip over to Oliver just to establish that while this is not taking place on your street, your house is actually quite a ways away from this section of the hex, like a couple of blocks.
Indeedy. Mm-hmm.
But you do hear that feedback from the amp that Nakmat was fidgeting with, even though the space, like the distance from that scene, you're not you shouldn't have expected to hear it at that same volume. You hear it at the same volume.
Absolutely. So it's kind of mid, I guess, kind of like argument, being like, I get that you're that you signed me up for these additional like sports courses as a way to add more strings to my bow or what have you, but it's really not a personal and in stopping mid thought, Oliver looks at his parents. And they don't react, I suppose.
They react. They react very, very faintly. Like they're also disturbed by something, but they like shrug it off almost immediately.
Did you hear that? That was really loud. Where did that even come from?
It's just people playing outside with their magical wild instruments or whatever. That's beyond the point. Don't don't interrupt us while we're trying to have a very serious conversation with you, Oliver.
I look, and he stands up from his breakfast. It being both a weird three-way combination of cultures of meal. Colette being Senegalese and Akio being Japanese and having rice as a staple carb in common, that kind of layers in. But with this being nebulously Western, there's a degree of average British/American breakfast involved as well. So, you know, lots of slices of toast stacked high with multiple different things at once, and the plates clatter as he gets up from his desk, from the table being I get that you sum me up with this in your best. You're trying to do what's best for me, and I understand. But you're not really. I'm 22. You just can't keep doing. You know what? Can we have this conversation later? I think this is. I'm not really hungry anymore. I think maybe going for a walk to clear my head would probably be best for all of us, right? I'm just gonna go. I'll see you two later. And
your father sighs very loudly. Your mother, Colette, is almost like very suddenly going to cut you off and say, "No, you don't get to leave. We're still not done talking to you." But Akio just very gently puts a hand on her shoulder and goes, "We'll talk about it later.
mm-hmm.
I think our son's having a moment."
There is a I guess an equal sigh back in that I just said that I am no longer a teenager and you can't treat me this way. But at this point, the conversation is going in circles. Oliver just kind of like politely leaves the room, briefly steps upstairs to retrieve a bag of like the standard his standard go bag of a couple of sketch/notebooks, his portable theremin, and the standard, you know, like a tablet or mobile phone or whatever is the current tech for this kind of like circumstances, and kind of steps out of the building.
Okay. Before you
mm-hmm.
leave your upstairs bedroom,
mm-hmm.
I want you to roll to tell me if you notice something outside your bedroom window.
Sure.
What would you like to roll for that?
Well, depending on what I roll here, kind of defines whether this is a sensible, visible thing, or maybe a more surreal, magical thing. So let's be spicy and make it a magical thing. I want to use a tune to notice the weird thing going outside my window.
Okay. How many dots in a tune do you have?
I have 2 dots in a tune. So
okay.
am going to be rolling 2d12 and taking the higher for that, right?
You roll a d12 or a d20 plus 4.
Right. Okay. Right. We're using the modifier. Sure. Let's go with a d12. So 1d12 plus 4. 6.
A 6. Let's check again what a 6 does.
We're all rolling so bad.
Mediocre, mixed success.
Right, a 6 is a minor success.
I'll take a mixed success for noticing something at my window. I'm not about to die here.
Oh yeah, very. So it's weird because this is in a tune. So essentially, what it is a you have in the obvious vein of an anime protagonist, you have this feeling as you glance outside your bedroom window that something very wrong is about to happen sometime soon, somewhere. But you don't know what it is.
This is wrong. I don't know why I was able to hear it. Register slightly higher. There we go. I don't know why I was able to hear it. My parents couldn't. This must be something strange, but it's none of my business. I should go. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
with a staring out across the clefts. I guess my house is like on a hill or something, so we can see like the rest of the vale, the valley of this particular district ahead.
Yeah. You do definitely get a very you this is one of our like, if this were a TV show, this is one of the best first establishing shots of what the cliffs look like from above. You see like some neighboring houses, you see the nearby high school, the nearby elementary school. From your window you can see, not very clearly, but you can see all the way up to the hex's edge. So within like a direct line of sight from your window is one of the smaller half hexes that the corps put in each hex, that is full of like security and monitoring processes that you have no idea what takes place in that building. It's just like a black site to you. But it's like a direct line of sight from your window all the way to the hex's edge. So you have this experience, you witness this brief moment of dread, and you leave. At which point, yes,
I think to work in the kind of cross-cultural nature of it. You said you're Trinidadian, right? Yeah.
I am.
My folks are Bayesian on my mom's side, and I don't know whether the bus system is similar in Trinidad, but they don't really, they will stop, but also they need to get where they need to be at the fastest speed possible. So if there's the smallest amount of distance between you hailing one down and getting on being the narrowest time possible, they go for that. So I think there's a kind of like running. He gets into the street and starts running. He sees that there's a bus coming and kind of flags it down, and in one kind of smooth movement runs alongside and just kind of combat rolls onto this bus as it kind of like peels away downtown to where the shenanigans are occurring.
You just like chase after this small bus, grab the railing that is attached to the door, because that's how people get on this bus. Just slide in. There's a seat right in front of you, right in front by the door. So you just slide into that seat and
slams the change in, and we're away. Absolutely.
At which point you return to the scene of the noise. What would you like to do now?
Okay, so what was the problem with your instruments? It was the noise was too big? Do you need like maybe a bigger backboard from us, something bigger than a tuning fork?
I'm 100% sure. I need to find the. I don't even know if it'll work if I put it together. There's got to be another way we can find it.
Oh, how about this? She takes out her fiddle. What note does that tuning fork make?
It resonate with the noise. See, and I flick it.
Okay, and then she gets out her fiddle and like plays the same note, but obviously it's much louder with an instrument to try and get a clearer signal, as it were.
So I'm gonna say like you play a low C in order to match the pitch of the tuning fork. The fork kind of resonates as you play. Give me another tune roll.
Moi?
Yes.
Let's
Katie.
do a D20.
Okay.
That makes it a 21. I don't know. The +4 is an interesting feature of having way more skill, but let's continue.
Okay. Like the minute that your bow touches the string, the minute that you make like the beginnings of that note, there is this like very high-pitched sound that like both of you don't so much hear it as it seems to like go straight through you like an arrow. But where it comes from, you now know is the source of this noise, which is coming from the apartment complex on the other corner of the intersection. But for a moment, you're both briefly overwhelmed with pain.
Yeah. I think we're
So
getting
you're
closer.
both doubled over in this. You're both doubled over in this street from this sound.
That's it. I think we found it.
Yeah. Here. I have these. I mean, they didn't really help much there, but they might help later. And I pull out like 2 earplugs for you. And just give them if you want.
She takes them, but she doesn't put them on yet. She puts them in her pocket.
All right.
For the record, I imagine she's wearing like denim overalls with like a blue and white striped half or quarter sleeve shirt, and she has black, or her hair is black in a ponytail, but outside of the ponytail is like wavy neon green. Just some appearances description.
Okay. So
I think I'm wearing a shirt and swimming trunks because I was planning on going through the pool. So I'm wearing like a t-shirt over swimsuit and swimming trunks.
So you were prepared to swim immediately as you got to the park. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Because that's how I get to my cave. It's through the pond. I have to go under the water and dive out of the other side.
Not even a change of clothes, though. You were prepared to like go back home wet. Duly
I
noted.
have clothes in the cave. Like I think I have stuff in there. I've gone there enough that it's set up as a home away from home, basically.
Fair enough. Okay. So are you both going to enter the apartment complex?
River wants to.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Noted. This is where we cut to the fourth member of our crew, Eva. Do you live in this apartment building?
I feel like for drama's sake, yes. Ava's Saturday morning has to starts with dealing with a teenager, her daughter Andrea, and so it's sort of like, okay, I get up, I deal with her cat, make sure the cat has food, and then make sure to start making breakfast for her daughter. So it's just dealing with, home domestic stuff. She's got like papers stacked next to her while she's cooking, and she's just sort of like looking through and she's probably grading for completion versus like substance for her kids. So she's just like, did they do this? Did they try? And like, okay, good, because she is she's a teacher, so she's trying not to be working on a Saturday, but you know how that goes.
So I can't remember if he had asked this before, so I'll ask now. How many children does Ava have?
So Ava has one daughter.
Okay. And what is Andrea doing at the moment?
I feel like Andrea is sitting like very like, she's kind of annoyed that her mom didn't let her sleep in longer. So like she's sitting at the table like waiting for breakfast, like with like head in her hand and like almost like lowered down to the table, like, I want to be sleeping right now. But Ava's just like, no, you have to eat. We can go out, we can do something, we can after you eat, we can head to the park or something, so they're probably discussing like what they're gonna do like today together.
Okay. So I will say that while that happens, Andrea checks her phone to see, like, I mean, normal average teenage stuff. Just following up on the latest goings on the Twitters and TikToks of this universe. When one of her classmates makes a tweet that apparently there's some weird noise stuff going on in the area, and she waves her phone very eagerly to you and goes, Ma, I think a noise thing is happening. Should we be worried?
Sweetheart, come on. Those things never happen near here. It's fine. We're good.
I
If
mean,
anything, they'll take care of it.
I mean, it's freaky noise stuff. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Well, I'll protect you. You know me.
I feel like I should have slept longer. She's just like panic scrolling at this point, trying to see if anybody has video. No video on the internet yet.
No.
I'm going to say that all of this happens at the exact moment before Nakmat attempted to put together the device the first time. So when the feedback happens, both of you hear it.
At the same volume?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's like the sound literally sounds like it's rattling all of the windows in your apartment at that point.
Yeah. I think Ava sort of like stiffens, and then she's like looking around, and she's like, Andrea, get off that phone. Go get dressed. Go. And she's gonna like run to like the window and look to see if it's outside.
Yeah, like she glances to like the wind, like there is a window right over the kitchen sink, and immediately sees like people just running away. And then she just like looks back at you like very worried. And then immediately goes to her room and starts getting dressed.
As a pair of women living alone in the city, Ava has a metal baseball bat she keeps by the door. In case
just one?
Just one. And she's gonna like she's like running to like put on like a little cardigan to put over like her house clothes and like put on her shoes and grab the bat, and she's just like, this is fine. I'm gonna take my daughter out of here and everything's gonna be fine.
Okay. Andrea comes back out of the room in like jeans, a very like baggy shirt. She puts a cap on, which she normally doesn't do, but like at this moment she's like, I kind of don't want anybody to see me out of my house with my mother, so she has a cap on mostly to hide her face. And as you open your apartment door, there are like people rapidly rushing down the corridor and like literally like leaping down the stairs to get out.
Can I try and so I feel like a teacher instinct is gonna kick in right now of seeing like panicked children, and Ava's gonna shout in the corridor for everyone to stay calm, or else that people are gonna get hurt outside of the noise. And
okay,
it's definitely like a very stern like, you guys need to stop.
That kind of sternness sounds like a direct roll.
Sweet. So
which
I have 2 of that.
Okay, so you get to roll a d12 or d20 plus 4.
So like statistically I can't fail the plus 4 on the d12, so I'm gonna go for what's safe, because I feel like drawing attention to myself right now is not safe.
Probably not.
All right, that's a 12. So I set out what I wanted to do.
Okay, a 12 is very good. A 12 is a success. It just happens. When you open the door, at that point there are like 2 10-year-olds, like 2 unsupervised 10-year-olds, a single father and his 8 or 9 year old son, and like two 20 something year old like twins, who, like, as the moment they hear your voice suddenly stiffen, turn to you. All of the adults are about to get really, really mad, and then they just, no, you're right though, and then they just kind of patiently shuffle down the stairs, and you follow right behind them.
Perfect. If there are two unsupervised 10-year-olds, Ava hands the bat to Andrea, and she's gonna sort of take each of them by the hand to make sure that they're like okay as they're shuffling out of this apartment, trying to shuffle down the stairs.
One of them looks up to you and says, "Oh, hey, it's Miss." And then the other one looks at them and then looks at you and says, "Oh, hey, it's Miss." And they just like very silently walk down this staircase with you.
Perfect.
And you all emerge outside the apartment building just as River and Nachmat are prepared to enter in.
Ava would look at them and sort of like hold up a hand like, hey, no, it's not safe here. We need to leave.
So I just turned to River and go, I think that means we found the right place.
Yep. Hi. We're here to try and help. So the place that's unsafe is where we want to be.
Yeah. That's how that works.
Oh my goodness. She's gonna look at Andrea, and she's gonna sort of like let go of the 10-year-olds to take the bat back. And she's gonna be like, there are children who are going to be doing dangerous things. I cannot let that happen.
You're
right.
I at least am 20 something.
I am also like 20 something. I feel like we might be the same age and may have been in approximately the same classes.
Probably. I think I might be like, it depends. I'm picturing them as like 1 year younger than the academic age they were in. Like,
okay.
So I don't know if you were in the same situation or if I'm like a year younger than you or like whatever. But
we'll see when it matters.
Yeah.
Ava does look at you guys and she's like, have you ever been inside there?
This specific building? No.
Yes.
It's an apartment building. They all look the same. They're literally built to all be the exact same.
I mean, most of them are just square interiors.
Well, if you're going to be going inside there, I can lead you around.
Okay. Are you sure you're going to be?
What about all these smaller ones?
There are, and she looks at the twins and she points at both of them and she's like, "You watch over these children."
One of them gives you like a very eager salute and then stops and looks up at his hand and goes, "Why did I just immediately pledge my allegiance to this woman that I don't know?" And then the other one looks at him and goes, "Yeah, we'll take care of the kids."
Inside, River determines that Ava commands authority very easily and respects that.
I also just want to, like, Ava's short. Like, Ava's like 5'1", and like she's got like her hair all like up in like a messy like cooking bun, and she has like house clothes, a cardigan, and a metal baseball bat, and she's like leading you guys in. So of course, like, there's like a weird disconnect with her.
I'm also going to say at this point that the bus that Oliver is on is just about to turn very eagerly past this crowd of people that have just gathered outside the building. So you're going to need to very eagerly get off at this point, but you can tell that because this is where the crowd has gathered, that you're going to have to come off here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to make a roll for this depending on how much you'll allow me to do some anime nonsense. But
I mean, you'll need to do anime nonsense if you're getting off the bus.
Yes, exactly. So as the bus kind of like comes round, and the bus stop is actually not too far away, so in the same kind of hurried nature of this kind of going. The doors are already pre-open. And people generally have the common sense to kind of wait until the bus comes to a stop. But this is, I think Oliver has now been kind of caught up emotionally in the fact that this is some kind of emergency, and he's absolutely not thinking about what kind of thing he's supposed to be doing. So in the middle ground to this conversation, a blur just kind of like leaps off the back of the bus. I think Oliver's outfit kind of fits within what would be kind of contemporary Japanese streetwear. So the silhouette is kind of quite close-fitting underclothes, but really baggy overclothes. So they have a really large, kind of like 90s puffer bomber jacket and a long scarf. Because you know you've got to have the movement.
Love the long scarf.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
Big chunky high tops, and they're kind of like type A curly hair that kind of, when not in motion, would be covering one eye, because they are a sad boy. Leaps off the bus in a blur of motion, and I guess rolling to not eat pavement on the other side.
Indeed.
Yeah.
You will give me a finesse roll to determine how much of the concrete you eat.
Oh, thank you. I was expecting to have to do something that I was bad at. Let's roll 2 finesse, or at least +4 on the roll.
It's a roll to roll.
We're gonna be extreme here and roll a d20 because I absolutely want to face the consequences of overshooting this. Thematically,
okay.
for him to overshoot this, 1d20 +4. Oh, a 10. That's a
10. I think. You just do the thing. There is like only because the other 3 of you are having a conversation, and because the bus stop is within all of your lines of sight, you notice very like clearly and vividly, just as the bus is about to like just inches up away from the bus stop, as it's about to clear the bus stop entirely, you see this powerfully dressed individual leap off the bus.
Bombs inside the building.
Like he very eagerly leaps off the bus. Like there is a moment where Oliver like transitions from like the crouch that is necessary to like break one's fall out of the bus into like this very dancer like turn and pose that allows the scarf to like catch the wind of the bus passing. Like there is this brief like glint of light that hits one of the tinted windows of the bus and then hits Oliver's face in a way that makes the entire scene look like came straight out of a scene from Power Rangers. And yeah, that's you are now out of the bus. What is the first thing you're about to do?
Oh, yeah. No, Oliver immediately runs inside the building in a kind of like dramatic irony to this conversation of, don't go inside the building, it's dangerous. And then just in the background, this kid immediately he's still... I like the fact that he's 22, but very emotionally 16, it seems.
Is he with you? He just... Yeah. What?
This blur of powerful colors just
yeah.
What's your pose on inside the building?
I think I just look at Ava and go, "Why don't you stop Oliver?"
Ava's gonna run past into the building.
I immediately turn to River. Well, looks like we can go in too, and just start walking.
Yep. I like to imagine it was a fob door, so we would have had to do something to get in. But since you went in first, we're just like,
okay.
Yeah, is when upon being just generally inside the building, considering this thing is making noise and giving ill vibes, TM, is it easier to pinpoint where this is coming from now that we're inside the
I'll say for the ease of what is about to take place that because everybody is here, like presently at the location, everyone who is close enough to Nakmat can tell that one of their tools is very obviously pinging very loudly. So you know that it's in this location, and that like Nakmat can tell that because of the nature of those readings, that it's elevated from their present location. So it's several floors up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a mix of things. Like I think that we know it's in the right place because the tuning fork won't stop vibrating. And I think we know it's up because like I have just a noise meter that measures in decibels, and like when I hold it forever, it gets a volume reading.
Okay. So what do you plan to do with this information now that the door has been held open by Oliver's very eager self?
Oh yeah, he's immediately just kind of like the Final Fantasy VII running up the flights of stairs in the back of the building kind of deal. So yeah, I guess if you want to save this random dude who seems to be heading straight into danger, you kind of got to make haste here.
I mean, now that everyone is safe and not in immediate pain, I am too headed with single-minded determination to the noise that probably like I feel like Oliver is approaching with optimism and naivete, whereas I'm approaching with like a curious brisk walk where like I'm only not running out of respect for the other people around me, but if I was on my own, I would be full sprinting.
I don't know if Ava's following along yet, but River gives you a shrug and then runs off after them.
Ava is going to unlock the elevator with her little like apartment fob thing.
Yep.
And I feel like she's gonna make a random guess at what floor this thing might be on.
Ooh.
To try and beat the children out, or trying to beat the children there. And by random, I feel like she's trying to feel it.
I was gonna say it would be fun if you pressed all the buttons just so that as you went up, there would be a shot of all of us running past the elevator.
Oh, that's so smart though. That's even better. So she's just like, oh, I can't believe I'm gonna do this, because she definitely shouts at Andrea whenever she does it.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, nice. I just want to note that in the chat, Valeria has been given an inspiration, which will come in handy for a role in the future that you don't need to roll for anything yet, but there will come a point.
So she's just like, and the stairs definitely there's a door next to the elevator, and you have to run to the next door past the elevator to get to the next stairwell, and so it's probably a funny look.
So for 3 floors, there is you get the exact same pattern of Oliver very eagerly rushing from one staircase door to the other staircase door as if totally unbothered by the effort required. You see River following, not really as motivated as Oliver is, but like still keeping pace, almost like not breaking a sweat in the process of keeping pace. Or the first 2 floors, you notice Nakmat, because they're like just walking, but at the point of the pace of the elevator, there obviously comes a point where you are kind of ahead of everybody but Oliver.
I think each time she sees Oliver and the rest of them pass, she's like, "Are you guys gonna keep running?" Like, seriously, you're just keeping running?
Yeah. So that continues for the 2nd floor, the 3rd floor, the 4th floor. At the 5th floor, when the door opens, and Oliver is now turning the staircase corner when this happens. When the door opens, you hear this like loud roaring sound. And Oliver, you can see in front of you there is this like jagged rift in the open space, just like a couple of feet away from the elevator doors, such that Ava can't see it. But like it's like, imagine cutting a line of fabric, but the fabric is the literal universe, and you can see that it's been torn all across that 3D plane. And out of that like torn rift, you can see like what look like metal nails, just but move like liquid tentacles.
Ooh. Yeah, I think upon reaching the 5th floor and about to kind of skid round to go hit the 6th, they see the portal, and there's just a pause, and we kind of his eyes are wide, being and the bravado and energy that kind of welled up inside himself in terms of like, oh, clearly this is something that is important and I should be going to, but it was all instinctual, and now there is a reality of this thing that he has never seen before, and he is paralyzed with fear.
I feel like this is the moment where my brisk walk, because you've been sprinting and you haven't stopped, so I round the corner expecting there to be open space, and I like bump into you in the back where you've frozen.
And Oliver like hits the deck but and kind of like staggers to their feet, being, what is that? Sorry, voice level. What is that?
Oliver saying that is the last thing that Ava sees before the doors are about to automatically close on this elevator.
I think she shoves the bat through to keep the door from closing, and then like just like when they slam on it and then open up, she's like running out, and she's just like, "Oh, you weren't kidding! What the hell is that?"
The biggest noise I've ever seen.
Dude,
what?
I need to hold on, come on. I need to take notes. Pull out like a notepad and start scribbling everything I'm seeing and like what my instruments are measuring. Noise, volume, frequency.
Is now really the time for notes? I mean, that's it. And is it like coming through?
It's kind of like it's just wiggling there. It's not doing anything immediately threatening at the moment.
Yeah.
Brandon?
Nakmat and River have seen noise portals before, but have you ever seen anything attempt to get out before?
Mine is tiny.
I figured. Very few people have.
Ours are very small.
Yeah. The one that I like study and keep in my cave is like, I have to imagine like fingernail size, maybe slightly expanding, nothing like this, nothing big enough for something to crawl out of.
Okay, cool. Because this is legitimately like 6 feet tall portal. So
it's
I mean, it is the time for notes, but not the science notes or the science instruments. We need the music notes and the music instruments if we want to close this. I've never encountered something this large.
Matt, do you know what? So you know what to do here?
There's certain songs you can play to control it. Never tried for something this big before.
I want to swing my baseball bat at it. At the rift itself.
Now it's not the time for work.
Not at the thing poking out of the rift. You want to hit the portal.
Yeah, she would feel bad hitting something that she doesn't know is strictly dangerous. But maybe she's hoping like she can disrupt it if she hits it with the bat. She's not really thinking clearly. She's very scared.
Okay, duly noted. So the action that is required to just like get in a scrap is scuffle. But this could technically also be a tune if you also like if you more envision this as like a physical attempt of no, you just want to hit. You just want to hit. She is not
thinking of using anything besides like the bat. She's just like, nope, this is a dangerous thing.
Okay. So how many action dots do you have in Scuffle?
I have one action dot in Scuffle. Oh no. Okay.
what would
Natural 20.
a natural 20
Woo, woo.
makes the roll 22, which is straining.
Yep.
Um,
So when I
you,
strain, do I mark off one of my stress or one of my trauma?
For the moment, you need not worry about that.
Got it.
What I will say for the actual action that has just taken place is that you like rear up to swing your bat. Like, Oliver, are you still on the ground?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of kind of like panicked back crawling, trying to
Yeah.
reassert himself, but is still kind of like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure so I knew for a fact that the literal visual image of Ava swinging back literally passes over your head.
Oh yeah, that sounds dope. I'm into that.
So there's this whoosh as the bat hovers over you, and this another whoosh as it hovers all the way
Whoa.
back, slamming right against what is supposed to be like open magical atmosphere, but instead it hits something solid at the jagged edge of that portal. And now I need everybody to roll a tune.
I like to imagine Ava's wearing like slippers or something.
She is. She's wearing house slippers.
Yeah.
Like,
Do we choose our die, or you can give us a die for this?
Because of the circumstances of the moment, everybody's rolling a d20.
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh. Everyone gets normal success. So a big person.
I got a 16. I gotta remember to add the modifier.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got an exceptional.
Ooh.
Oh wow!
ooh, that's
wow,
our first exceptional of the campaign.
Yeah. I got a 21.
So Nakmat strains. River got a stunning performance. This +4, right?
Yep.
Ava got a minor success, and
Full success, baby.
okay. Right. In descending order, Ava, the moment that you hit it, there is like this very immediate kind of sudden force that you feel in your body, like in the very kind of Looney Tunes sense when they hit something that's not supposed to be hit, and then their whole body literally like ripples. Yeah, you feel that on what seems to be a molecular level. There is a moment when you feel like you can't like keep your balance because you're not even sure if you're standing on anything solid anymore. You feel like you're floating in the air. But luckily, the force of you attempting to hit the portal did in fact shift the portal 1.5 millimeters to the right. Oliver, you very briefly in the portal itself see a vision of you on stage in like a kind of like purple sequined jacket. Your all of the hair that is not presently covering your face is in spikes, and each spike is a different colored highlight. You are like rocking it out at this moment, and you can't see the rest of like what that scene is, but in the moment that you can see the image in the first place, you can hear the cheering of a very large crowd. And then just as suddenly as you see it, it disappears.
Yeah. For like a couple frames of animation, Oliver's eyes are huge and glittering with stars.
A river very like clearly sees all the way into the portal, and there you can see what looks like a metal triangular table with three hooded figures sitting at each face of that triangle, who seem to be having a very eager conversation that you cannot hear. When one of them looks up at you and they tilt their head, you can't see under the hood of their cloak, but they tilt their head, and you get the impression you get this very minor impression that they seem very intrigued by you in particular.
What?
How do I want to do this?
Obviously, this is my 21.
Right, and this so this clarifies some other things for me. Nakmat, you hear something that you recognize, but it takes you. It feels like it takes you forever, like literal ages, to tell what it is that you're hearing, and it's only as you realize how long it's taking you to recognize the sound that you realize that it feels like you've been hearing this sound play suddenly in your head for days, if not weeks. You feel like trapped in the sound for a moment, and as you are like trying to reckon with what it is, you suddenly realize that it's the frequency played at like half its speed. But you're hearing things in it that you've never heard before. You're hearing instruments that have never been emphasized. You're hearing like minor flourishes of the actual rhythm. And you can very vaguely hear a voice, but you can't actually make out what it's saying. And every time that you try to make out what it's saying, you experience this sensation in your body that you are literally turning to find someone who is speaking to you. And every time that you do it, you suddenly find yourself in a different colored space where it's just you and this vast expanse of colored smoke, and you turn one direction and it looks like you've just missed somebody turning a corner and walking away, and then you turn in another direction and you miss them again. You turn another direction and you miss them again, and then you turn one more time and you find yourself in the corridor again as everyone else is looking at you very worriedly.
Can I?
You were writing stuff down before. Do you have a plan?
Can I roll or compose to note down everything that I heard in that moment, like all the instruments, to try to preserve that?
Oh yeah, if you wanna memorize this, you will have to compose.
It's perfect.
How many dots do you have in compose?
I have 2 dots in compose.
Okay. What will you be rolling? D12 or D20?
12.
I've given
D12.
you this choice. 12?
D12.
Cool.
All 20 is frozen. 16. A natural 12.
Yeah.
16, if I recall, is a stunning performance,
Yeah.
which means that... Right. So the scene is literally... You notice everybody's staring at you with mild worry and confusion. And then it immediately occurs to you, no, wait, I need to write this down. And you write it down almost perfectly.
Yeah. I think it's because, like, I think we established
spills
before
out of you.
that I've heard the song that brings magic, and when I try to recall it, I just hear the noise. So I know I can forget this kind of thing and I don't want to. So just start writing.
Ava's gonna look at River and Oliver, and do they usually ignore danger?
Considering upon the screen, like, you were writing stuff down before. Do you have a plan? And they look around just to see Matt just continuing to write stuff down. And there's like a beat of like,
Honestly, River is still looking at the rift going, did anyone see that?
So what do we do?
I'm wondering if honest, like, when the acceptance is, maybe I have some sort of idea on what we could play to close this better, now that I've heard what's really underlying it a bit.
I will say one of the things that like kind of stands out to you in this moment is among multiple things that you think you can hear, because you've recently heard a fiddle being played, you can tell that there is a little bit of violin in what you heard. So you have this mild feeling that if you play the violin at this moment, you may just be able to close or at least hold it back.
There's violin in there, which is, I think, the first thing I said for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. We play violin. That'll help.
I don't have a.
So River just does the thing. River just like immediately gets information.
He's like, do you have a
request?
Music request? A melody, a counter melody? What do you hear?
Can I name something that's close to what I heard the violin doing? Or
I will just say for these purposes that
actually, what if I just
did you write it down?
Play whatever you always play to close them.
Okay,
fair enough.
I mean, I don't have much of a main melody. I mostly just freestyle. But if should we help? I have, and rummages around in that kind of soul satchel and pulls out a box of a thing. I can help.
See if you can follow along, like.
And while that is happening, River, can you roll a tune?
Yes, I can. The thing about rolling a 12 is that technically I can't fail, but if I rolled a 20, I could succeed.
Yes.
Interesting part of this.
That's how that works.
About that I want to push at. So with this role specifically, because I'm the harmony, I can assist, and I want to assist on this one. So I guess this is after you're the roll result is the thing that I can do. So go ahead and do the roll, and we'll see if I can actually help.
We'll keep rolling d20s. We're testing out this system. Okay, so I got a 12. I didn't add the plus anymore, but it's a 16.
Nice.
So it's already crit success. Ooh,
it's already crit success.
So I was gonna use my hum of once each performance, you may push yourself to increase another bandmate's roll by 1 level. And would that push a crit success into strain, or does it just make it like a super crit?
You can technically make River strain if you like. I do not recommend it.
No. I bring that up because obviously I would like to do it in the narrative of just kind of like, this is an instance where we start trying to play as a unit together. But also, if that would actively ruin River's attempt, I would not like to do that. So I guess I can play along and not involve anything mechanically, I suppose.
Also, in terms of mechanics, does this count as a stunning performance roll?
It does.
That gives me a point of moxie.
Ooh.
It does.
My backbone special ability.
So, while you're playing, you notice as like the corners of the portal tend to like start like folding in on themselves very, very in very like small portions. Nakhmat, because you're close enough, there is this moment, like you can focus very minutely on the edges of the portal and see like there are small shapes that seem to like come out of the portal and tend to like close it and stitch it up as the song is being played. Um, the the weird nail tentacle fingers are still like very eagerly wiggling inside, and then they just kind of stop for a moment and go like very still, and then they wave goodbye and slip away
Oh my god.
as the portal just neatly just continues stitching itself shut until it's totally closed. Zoop. Um, you see like these the remnants of the portal kind of form this weird kind of triangular black glass on the floor. Like you see these very small black glass pyramids, like 3 or 4 of them, just like lying on the floor right underneath the portal. And just as River stops playing and the portal is finally closed, you all hear sirens very slowly gravitating towards your location.
For the record, she played the 4th movement of a 4-movement piece, aka the closing movement.
Ah, nice.
Very good. Very good. You got it. Music.
Ava is going to look at all 3 of them, and she's going to be like, "You are all my guests here, and if they try to ask us what happened, we're not involved. You don't know how these people can be." And she's gonna start like sort of pushing them to go towards the elevator and like activating it with her little fob again.
I guess Oliver folds up the telescoping legs of their like theremin that they tried to kind of like play backing behind, and I hold on a moment, and moves over towards these, I guess, kind of like embedded crystalline growths in the floor. And there's kind of maybe a I like the idea of it being a shot from the ground, so it's just kind of like Oliver's head peeking into shot, like looking down at what this thing is. What are these pyramids? Let's give it a poke before we go flee the scene.
Yeah, just these 3 like loose glass things, pure obsidian black in color, just lying on the ground.
Oh, they're loose. Then yeah, Oliver like gingerly reaches down and like prods it, and then they're like he scoops it up.
River wanted to just
I will
straight
grab
up
one.
pick one up.
Yeah, same.
Ava's like, we should not be touching those. We should.
I pull out a glove, put it on, take out like a small box. I'll take these from you. Put it in here.
Okay.
Have these for.
All right.
I'm just gonna say, like, you have like very small Ziploc bags precisely for this purpose.
I don't know if for like for picking up samples of stuff, you know, from when I was doing more professional stuff.
Oliver hands the one they were holding over, maybe with some reticence, you know. But
I will give you the bag back then, like when I see that reticence. I'll bag it up and hand it to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and stuffs it in the messenger bag.
Okay. Do you all 3 of you know each other? Is that a thing?
Have any of you ever met?
As if the spell had been broken, Oliver kind of like looks around now that the tension's gone and is like, "Oh, I don't know any of you. I don't know. There was something. Have you ever had like a feeling of just something within you that kind of drove like an engine kicked into high gear, and you just did something out of the sheer need to do it?"
No.
Yes.
quick out of character question. Does Oliver go to university? He goes to university, right?
Yeah, he's a master's student. I think he's if he has these kind of like big aspirations about space,
Okay.
I guess he's
So
astrophysics sounds really big brain, and I don't
Yeah.
know if it's that. Maybe it's that. I don't know what astrophysics is, but sure.
yeah, astrophysics is just the science and physics of star objects, basically.
Yeah.
All
he
tons
wants
of
to make
professions can go
telescopes
into
and
space.
stuff, so he can continue to study the stars.
I mean, I'm curious. Like, it's possible. Like, if we don't know each other, we probably have seen you on campus at least. Like, because we all three of us, except for Ava, are college students, and at least River and I know each other from campus.
Is there some sepia tone flashback of people passing by each other in the background, or them making eye contact for just a moment but never actually acknowledging them?
Yeah.
With
I
this
feel like-
type of recklessness, I should have expected that you were all students.
Yeah, I'm a student. That's right.
well.
You got me. I'm a student, entirely attending university.
Yep, they're definitely a student who knows about all of the student developments happening at the school.
That's right.
Thank
you so much for vouching for me,
Why
River.
are you?
Come on, let's go to the elevator.
Please don't talk to the police when they arrive. Like, please. I'm Ava. I live here. Now you know my name.
Hi, Ava. My name's River.
I'm Oliver. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for inviting us over for tea, Ava.
Yes, inviting us over, and not for anything else because nothing happened here.
Correct. You're all very wise right now. And she looks at Magma and she's like, please don't talk to the police.
I have a +2 in sway, just out of character. I'm good at talking, even if it doesn't seem that way.
But are you good at lying?
Yeah.
Mechanically,
bad at sneaking. You're good at lying.
Mechanically, I've on purpose not taken anything that interacts with people because River is not going to be a very charismatic individual.
We don't all need to be the face. It's cool.
Yeah.
I once was highlighted to me that in the skills in tabletop RPGs usually represent what you're like under pressure. So you might be super good at smooth talking when under pressure, but maybe outside of that, you're like, lying. What's that? I don't know how to lie.
So are you all headed back outside?
Yeah.
I thought we were going to Ava's apartment.
Oh no, I have a daughter outside, and everyone else is out of the building, so it's gonna look super
the
weird.
building is the building is presently evacuated.
We were napping.
It would be very weird. So you all come back outside. Everybody is like looking very eagerly at Ava in particular, going, why did you join these three strange people going into our apartment complex, and why do you all look totally unbothered by the thing that we were threatened by moments ago?
I don't know. I think Oliver probably still looks like pretty shaken. This has been a wild ride over the course of about, half an hour?
Ahmed does not stop taking notes the entire way down the elevator.
In front of a group of her peers, like her neighbors, any neighbors that know Ava would know that she doesn't like when young people just randomly, like when young people are putting themselves in danger. So that's probably why she like ran in with them. And now, like, if they're asking her what happened, she's like, oh, it just closed. The wildest thing, it just closed.
River's doing that thing where like you act natural in a way that does not look at all natural. Like, yes, it closed on its own. Very definitely did that.
All of Ava's neighbors that have children in this apartment complex give her this look like, yeah, right, okay. Sure. And they just like kind of hold their children even closer. And just as that happens, you see like this, it looks from its shape like it should be a fire truck or an ambulance, but it's built with material and cut in such jagged shapes that it more closely resembles a tank. And it's painted white and blue. And that's where the sirens that you heard were coming from. It's one of the authority security vehicles that is now barreling down the street. It's like it's headed at top speed towards this crowd of people in this street, and everybody's like, not like they're not very eagerly getting out of the way. They know that the authority doesn't care about them, and if they get hit, they get hit. But they're also like not really in a hurry to get out of the way because they're still a ways away and they're accustomed to this kind of crap. But everybody eventually gets on either side of the sidewalk as this vehicle eventually comes to a stop just short of the bus stop. And 3 security agents with very large, thin staffs in their hand get out of the vehicle. And one of them, a 5'6" woman, olive skin, short black hair, gets out and points her staff at the crowd that she's immediately facing and she says, "Who's responsible for the anomaly here?" Everybody.
River whispers just to Nachmat, like, do people cause these? Why are they accusing us?
Brandon, is there a community symbol, sort of like a signal, like don't tell them anything, as a community that probably distrusts something that's like sort of so, I guess, so accusatory on site? Is there sort of like a thing that's like you didn't see anything?
Oh yeah, one of the like codes in your apartment building in particular, because every once in a while, like some of the people that some of your neighbors will get like roughed up for no reason, or they'll find themselves in situations where something that should definitely not be illegal gets them in trouble with the authorities. And one of the codes that a lot of people tend to rely on when they're out in public, when they have like full view of their body, is that somebody typically bends down to tie their shoelaces. Which is like deliberately, which is something that you deliberately notice because a woman to your right, an elderly woman to your right does it, but she's wearing slippers. So like you see her fiddling with the ears of her bunny slippers as if tying shoelaces, and everybody knows, yep, that's what's happening here. But but you can also tell that everybody's really baffled by this. Did somebody cause the anomaly business? Because for a lot of your neighbors, this is the first time that they've seen noise at all.
Is this a question? Is this a more universal symbol? Like, would us 3 from not this apartment recognize it?
I'm gonna say the chances that Oliver in particular may have seen this is probably actually kind of slim. You live in a more suburban area. Trouble finds you, but not very often where you live.
Yeah.
I think in a kind of counterpoint to Ava's kind of like neighborhood, the people in like the Oliver's neighborhood are not necessarily mean people, but they are not one to cover for each other.
Yes.
So yeah, while they're maybe kind of reasonably nice to each other, if police showed up and asked questions, they would immediately turn to backstabbing. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
So
Big rats. 100%. They make stuff up for their neighbors.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So yeah. So while all of that is happening, like all of you can tell in this crowd, a great deal of people really lost and confused by this news. One of the other officers has on their wrist something that looks like a watch, but is working more like a compass to them. in fact, I will ask. Nakmat, River, have you ever seen this device before?
If they carry it around often, I want to say that this is not my first or even second run-in with like the authorities responsible dealing with the noise, considering my hobby is investigating the noise. I probably end up at spots and like get pushed out of the scene by these authorities a bunch of times before. So if they carry this device frequently, I have probably seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very possible that whoever is here, one or more of them might recognize me.
Okay. So, what is particularly noteworthy as a result is that you've never like seen what one does. You've never seen the conclusion of an officer using it, but you've seen them use it in certain circumstances, including circumstances where noise is prevalent in the area, but not only those circumstances. And you see this authority agent look very eagerly at their watch, like they're repositioning themselves as they stand around the vehicle. And then they stop and look ahead from their watch. And on the other side, on the pavement, on the other side of the street, is one of the twins. One of the 20-something twins that you saw coming out the corridor earlier, Ava. It was the one that saluted to you, in fact. And he points his staff at the man and goes, "So you've been playing, I see." And the crowd around him all parts, except for his brother, who is looking like very eagerly at everybody, going, what's happening? And the other two officers kind of close in on him and go, and the first officer, the 5'6" woman, goes, everybody already understands what kinds of songs they're not supposed to be playing around here. So it's not like you have an excuse. So you might as well just come with us right now.
Ooh.
And his eyes, and the guy's eyes widen, but he says nothing to them. And he just like stands there very stock still.
Yeah. Away. I was pausing on this, but I think now would be definitely a good time to do it. I would quite like to make a mingle roll to see if anybody in the kind of general vicinity has like an old hat, like a baseball cap or whatever, and can kind of like mingle me somewhere to the back of the crowd a little bit. Because I think I have a bit of a ruse that might be useful under current circumstances.
Are you warning anyone else? Because Ava's about to like run up to these officers and start like pointing them in their chests. Like, what do you think you're doing? What proof do you have?
I have a feeling that both of these things simultaneously may be useful for the matters at hand.
Okay.
But if it's good, can I make a mingle roll for that? If that's cool.
Yeah, I'll say yes. How many dots do you have in mingle?
The chance of it going wrong is always nice. 1.
Okay, so that's a D12 or D20 plus 2.
Oh, let's go make this a D20 because there's no reason to not make it spicy.
I'm just gonna say that for the record, the River hearing that someone is being accused of playing, it's just coyly hiding her instrument behind her back, going, ah.
Yeah. Well, that is just the thing. I got a 20, by the way, which I believe is...
Yeah, I see that you got a 20. Wow. Big straining.
So the intent with this ruse, and this is probably a good way. So I'll raise this. You know exactly how to screw me over with this because I love it going wrong. Unironically, is basically Oliver makes their way back, uses the hat, puts it on the ground, throws some of their own change into it, and uses their theremin and starts busking in clearly from context clues A, these guys are looking for some weird vibes, and B, there is music that should and should not be played. So if they're on the hunt for people who are playing the bad vibes, Oliver starts, leaving their messenger bag somewhere within the crowd at the back, starts playing the theremin not very well and at increasing volume.
Can I say that while Oliver is setting this up, Ava is mom instincts rushing towards the police and she's I think she runs up to the twins and sort of like wraps her arms around their shoulders and saying, what are you doing to my primos? What are you doing to my cousins, huh? What proof do you have, huh?
The officer with the watch is about to literally point at the watch and say, this is all the evidence that we need. And he looks down and it's going haywire because Oliver's music is throwing it all the way off at this point.
She's like, oh, I hear that often from men like you. Faulty equipment.
Hey.
The entire crowd simultaneously just goes like,
Like all of the children are like, oh, it's like a couple of their parents.
Oh, Miss Perón said, oh.
A couple of their parents like grab their mouths and go, these are the authorities, stop it. As that's happening, the woman authority agent turns to Oliver. Well, turns to the crowd where Oliver is like, I assume, knelt behind a couple of people and just like going wild while this small crowd of people are like literally huddled around you going, if we move, they will see you and they will hit you in the head with a bat.
With a little kind of like the cap in front, like it's like, oh, I decided that now would be a great time for me to street busk. I'm just here playing music, just playing vibes. So yeah, I'm happy to draw attention to myself under current circumstances. I know that this is a bad idea.
I mean, it is. The agent walks up to you and pokes you in the side with their staff.
Good. You give your act first.
I'm sorry, officer. Is there something wrong?
I'd like to walk up to the officer. Does this one looks like the agent who's in charge?
Yes, the short woman is the agent in charge.
Cool. How do hums work exactly, like narratively?
If there's a circumstance where it can be used, you use it. I mean, you just describe it to me and I'll tell you if it fits for this purpose.
My hum allows me to push myself to one of the options, deliberately affect one person's emotional state. I would like to get the agent to actually get into the music and start losing track of her initial anger purpose that brought her up here as she starts enjoying Oliver's performance.
Okay, that means that you would take 2 stress, and the thing that you described just happens?
Yeah, I think the way I go about doing it is I just walk up, as she's prodding at Oliver, go, you got pretty nice talent, don't you think? The noise that it melds nicely in the acoustics of the street, plays off real calming to the soul, don't you think? We can only use a break like this from time to time.
And she's literally fighting the urge to reply. She turns back to the other 2 agents who are looking at her quizzically boss, what's happening? And then she turns to Oliver and says, you actually have a lot of talent. I wish that other people were making the kind of music that you were making. Things that feel good, things that speak to the spirit of this powerful nation that we're a part of, instead of some other things, and she still like finds herself glancing toward the man on the other side of the street. While that's happening, those other two agents turn around, look at Ava like very, very sternly, and they still grab the man by both of his wrists and gently, very slowly lead him to their vehicle.
I think Ava's like, if you're taking him, you're taking me too. And she's like, she's marching alongside these people. She's so, I feel like she's a lot tinier than these two agents. And she's like, you should be ashamed. If your mother looked at you right now, you don't know if you're taking the right person. You haven't even looked inside. You don't know if anyone got hurt. You should be ashamed. You should look at yourselves before you start touching anyone here.
While that is happening, I want Ava to give me a finesse roll.
I don't have any dots. I don't have any dots in finesse.
Oh, you have no dots in finesse? Do you know what happens when you have no dots in an action?
No.
You have to roll a d20.
Okay.
But this is a good place for your inspiration, I imagine, because I totally forgot that you had an inspiration that I still hadn't used yet. So you will give me 2 d20 rolls, and we will keep the best that doesn't strain.
The 12.
The 12
is a succeed at what I did. I did my thing.
Okay.
In that case, since I didn't use the hum previously on River's kind of attempt to close the portal, and because Oliver is already playing his instrument, and while this kind of like argument is kind of going on, Oliver turns to the police officer that's like in conversational range with him and says, "You know, the thing that I really like about the theremin is that it responds to any metal that's in the area. So no performances are the same. Everybody, the entire area around you becomes part of the performance. And the fact that there's this weird metal watch that this officer has is making the theremin play slightly differently. So Oliver kind of twists his hands a little bit and incorporates that. And it's starting to incorporate a wider area within the thing of the space, including... What metal do you have on you, Eva? Do you have any jewelry on you?
She definitely has like a golden chain with like a little religious symbol at the bottom, and I think she has a couple of different rings on her fingers.
I think as the camera kind of like sweeps across the street towards Eva, and there's like a slow motion thing as you gesture with one hand and it slows down, and then we can see individual rings on one hand, and then you gesture again and the necklace like lifts off your chest a little bit and we kind of catch a glint of it, and simultaneously Oliver twists his hands as well and kind of incorporates your jewelry into the piece, and that gives that extra bit of oomph in the weird way that sound magic does in this setting, pushing it to a critical success.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
Your success becomes a stunning performance, which means that this agent's attempt to trip you with their staff turns into you literally catching their staff at the bottom of your foot and breaking it. So like there's this like inch and a half of staff that is just like shattered under your foot. And that agent looks at you very, very sternly. And then looks back at their boss and is like, "Boss? What's happening here?"
That was quite the Oliver twist.
You know what's gonna happen one time this game.
It can't happen again. It's illegal now.
Counterpoint. We keep bringing it up every time it's wrong.
Oh God.
Katie understands.
So as all of this is happening, the head agent is like still like slowly taking in Oliver playing. And then she pauses and goes, I really have to get back to work. Reaches into her pocket, pulls out like what do you call those things? A money clip, and flips out $400 and puts it into your cap.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
And says, I hope to hear you again soon. I'll pass back through the area. We can probably talk about where your career is headed, but my boss is definitely going to kill me if we don't get out of here. Behind her, the other two agents are going, I don't know what's happening to you, boss, but we're taking this guy in. And they just shove him in the back of the van one time and close it.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Yes, I like to think that with performances like this, it tends to draw a lot of attention. You know, you never know where there might be somebody recording the performance. And Oliver smiles widely.
Just in that scene, there is a beat of Oliver literally turning left, and like in the sense of how this is shown on camera, there are 5 different clips of portrait video of Oliver playing that all have all 3 of the agents actively in frame. And the head agent turns back to the crowd and goes, I'm really sorry about this disturbance. It'll never happen again. It's actually really embarrassing, but hopefully we've taken control of the situation and you'll never have to see us again. And she looks at Ava very nervously now, looks back at Oliver even more nervously still, sees all of the cameras, adjusts the collar of her uniform, and then gets into the vehicle immediately, and they drive off.
I feel like Andrea had to hold back her mom from jumping in front of this car. Like she is upset. She is loudly cursing as they drive off. Like she's screaming at them, and she definitely screamed at the agent as she walked into the car. Like she's like you're a sham. You're shameful. You're disgusting, and your man tried to beat me, and we have it on camera. You're not. This is not the last you'll see of me. And that boy did nothing wrong, and she's screaming.
Andrea, this entire time is like trying and failing to cover the 2 boys' ears that she was still like taking care of when you went upstairs, and like trying to like whisper to you, Ma, stop it. You're embarrassing everybody on the block. Please stop. It's like, but a couple of the other neighbors like look at you kind of reassuringly, like, thank you for that. The guy's brother walks up to you and says, I don't know why they took him. He doesn't even, I don't know what, he doesn't even play anything. He's not I don't. What's
Katie,
happening?
you were going to say something before I went off on this officer.
I was just going to say River was going to try and play like the clef chord to get people to yell like in sync at the like the authorities as they drive off.
The phrase,
you know how they do.
Yeah, and that so you do that, and like the people behind you immediately pick up what's happening, and they're like shouting very loudly at the vehicle, and it stops very suddenly, and then everybody else starts joining in very slowly. A couple of people are like very nervous, like, is this the point where the authority decides they're all gonna put us in a van? I mean, they can't all put us in a van, can they? So everybody starts slowly joining in. Everybody chanting their one phrase of the song until the van starts up again and continues. And the visual scene of that is that it pans from Katie to Oliver to Nakmat to Ava to the brother of the man who's just been taken in to the two children that Andrea are watching. And then it just kind of follows all the way back to the entrance of the apartment building, all the way up the staircase to the second floor, the third floor, the fourth floor, the fifth floor, through the keyhole of one of the bedrooms on the fifth floor, where underneath the bed there is a sleeve for a vinyl record sticking out. But the name of the band has been scraped off, and there is a post-it note on the sleeve that says, "Don't let anybody know this still exists." And that's the end of tonight's session.
Ooh, snaps. Snaps. Nice.
Yeah. Wow! Y'all really thought y'all was gonna get in a fight with the authority, Ava?
Ava
doesn't play, and this is gonna be fun. Everything about this is wild. Thank you.
Yes.
Oliver decided to distract the authority with busking. The three most awkward experiences with parents and children to take place in the exact same sequence. So I guess that means at some point we need to meet River's parents.
They're around.
Yeah. This was a lot of fun. I'm very eager to see where we get from this point. We are still a long ways away from the actual Soundclash that has been advertised. So this is a very good opportunity for us to set up a great deal of other things. So I'm really excited to see how you four get along now that your first interaction with each other was closing a portal. So yeah, thank you so very much for this. This is really dope.
Yeah.
So before we summon Greg back from the ether, before we bring him back from the portal that we had just previously closed, I should ask everyone to reintroduce themselves. Tell us what you're working on, where we can find you, what cool stuff you might be into at the moment. Starting with Valeria.
Hey guys, again, you can find me here every other Sunday. You can find me on Off the Table every other Wednesday doing a Monster of the Week campaign. That's by GM Russ Wild, they are fantastic. You can also hear my voice more at Kingdom on the podcast Kingdom Hearts of Forgotten Era. That's an actual play podcast, and you can see my hot takes at Villain Vicencio on Twitter.
Next, Nathan.
Hi, hello. My name is Nathan Blades. I am the painted nails that rend flesh. You can find me on Twitch at The Neon Caster, where we stream a wide variety of indie tabletop RPGs. Our most recent one was a Gun and Slinger, which was the most depressing session of a tabletop RPG I've ever run. It's great. You can also go and talk to me about your terrible tabletop opinions at Phantom Arts Ent, Phantom Arts ENT on Twitter. That's me.
Nice. Next, Katie.
Hi, I'm Katie, the one who would destroy you at Twitter if we were ever to play together, and that is a fact. You can find me here every other Sunday, as we now know. And you can find me playing Grace Chen in the Valence podcast, an urban fantasy audio drama. In the town of New Candler, and there's magic, and there's zip zap zops. Tons of fun. And that's about it. Yeah, I guess you can find me on Twitter at Katie Peak, like Mountain Peak. where I tweet about mostly the Neo Scum podcast, I think. I don't know what I've tweeted recently.
Nice. And next, Amor.
Yeah. I'm Ramirez. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Amaraz. I do, you can hear my voice on the Most Fierce podcast if you enjoyed my presence here, as well as guest appearances at a bunch of other places. You can also hear me hopefully on another stream starting Friday, so keep an eye out on my Twitter for that. I also do game design stuff, and you can find out all about that on my Twitter. Also, quick question, Katie. You said I will destroy you at Twitter if we ever play each other. That you mean to say Tetris?
Yes, I did say Tetris. I'm very good at Tetris.
I want to take you up on that challenge.
Ooh, okay.
And I want to watch that challenge take place.
Bring it
I thought
on.
Katie said Twitter. And I was very
You did say
confused.
Twitter, actually.
Yeah.
not
Did I say
Tetris.
Twitter?
Yeah.
That's what you said.
See,
I mean,
I
Twitter is a
figured,
Oh, no.
Tetris is what you were going for, but
You spelled it out. It made sense. but
I'll
yeah.
destroy you at Twitter too. I'm very afraid of everybody, so it'll work out.
There are definitely people who play Twitter as a competitive sport.
Yeah, there's that's
So as for me, your humble stage manager this evening, I have been, and will forever be Brandon O'Brien. You can find me almost everywhere on the internet at The Rising Tides. Soundclash, the game system that we're playing right now, is a system in development by me, and you can contribute to that development by contributing to my Patreon. Patreon.com/The Rising Tides. You can also find my itch.io page, therisingtides.itch.io, where I have made a great deal of very interesting small tabletop RPG projects. I also have a handful of my poetry up there, and one of the most recent things that I've put on that page is a Fugitives crew sheet for Blades in the Dark, if you ever want to play the experience of running from the law and attempting to solve the mystery that has put you out of favor with the authorities. So yeah, that's me. That's been session 1 of Soundclash, the Clampdown. And until next session, keep the frequency in your heart, everyone.
Catch you later.
All right, I have returned from the ether. So
It's Greg.
yeah, I was being told that I had to return from the dimension where I was, wrongfully imprisoned. No. So good work, everybody. And I was cracking up at some of the. I was particularly cracking up at the clapbacks with the crowd being like, "Oh, ow, oh!" They said that. That was great. So good work from everybody. And I do want to mention just quickly before I let them all go. This is part of, I guess, what I'm jokingly calling Brandon Sundays on this channel, where Brandon is either doing this or is running the Speculate Twitch joint stream of Blades in the Dark, the aforementioned Blades in the Dark, which is what will be happening next Sunday on this channel at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll be right back here for more Soundclash the Clampdown the following Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So you'll want to make sure that you're there for all of that. And also, in 2 weeks after the second Soundclash the Clampdown session, Brandon and I will have an announcement regarding something else that may be of some interest to the current watchers of and participants in this particular campaign. So you will hear more when this happens. So you'll just have to be back for that, for Soundclash the Clampdown teaser edition, as I just made it. But this was great stuff from everybody. So chat, can we get some love for the amazing players? And as I always say, for the amazing stage manager, I always got to give some love to the GM. Great stuff, Brandon, out of not just the game design, but also the game running today. It was really good stuff. But thanks to both players and GM, and we will see you folks in a couple of weeks. So bye for now, all.
Jenna.
All righty, and that, I believe, give me just a second whilst I get rid of that, and then move that, and then go over to that. Yes, so that is going to do it for today. This was a lot of fun, and I was enjoying kind of listening in on how that was all developing, and it was reminding me for some reason I was getting these reminders of going into this crazy thing. No one is going to remember the mid 80s game Chainsaw Warrior, but there's a whole thing about opening up a portal, and the game itself has nothing content wise or anything else wise to do with Soundclash, but something about the portal and the feel of the environment as they were running up the building was really, I don't know, was tickling that memory in the back of my mind, in addition to all of the awesomeness from the characters. But it was good stuff, great work, and again, great honor to be able to host this on my channel. We are going to be done now until Monday evening, when we are going to be back here with Sod presenting a Grumbler's Guide to the Temple of Elemental Evil. Then Tuesday we will have Adventures in Middle Earth at noon Eastern, and then we'll have at 4 p.m. Eastern The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Blood and Wine over on GOG.com's Twitch channel. Wednesday we've got Community D&D, so you'll have a chance to see Shadowed Mage plus the Shadow Crew will make its return for Dragon of Icespire Peak. We'll be off on Thursday. Then Friday we will be back with some Esper Genesis, GM'd by yours truly, with the space opera, which is sponsored by Alligator Alley Entertainment. And then Saturday we've got D&D with INB Curse of Strahd, and that's what we've got going on over the next week. So it's going to be a very busy tabletop week with a little bit of video games kind of mixed in here and there. But this was a great start to what was an awesome tabletop week. If you liked it, I hope you will consider following the channel. I hope you will consider checking out the YouTube with !ArvTube, Discord with !ArvCord, Twitter with !ArvTweets. Website for all of that is arvaneleron.com. On the financial side, !ArvShop for merchandise from Infinity and Beyond and Adventures of Middle Earth, soon to be Esper Genesis as well. !ArvTreon is that Patreon that you see sitting right there that allows us to put more money back into things like the overlay that you just saw for Soundclash, the Clampdown, and for a bunch of other things that we do on this channel, and it also supports my writing, and that obviously comes back to help the channel as well. So any of that would be much appreciated too. And if you haven't already done so, checking out and supporting us by subbing to the channel is appreciated. Also, a few of you did that today. We're sitting at about 75 subs. So again, custom sub badges, custom emotes, and of course things, inspirations for the players, including what Arudinel gave to, I guess, and I'm actually trying to remember. It was to Ava, right? It was to the character of Ava actually got played with this, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I thought it was Ava. I wasn't sure, but yeah, that's right. So has got an inspiration, the first ever Soundclash inspiration. So anyway, you can get that as well and use this for that too. And then of course we've got the publishing stuff, !Icarus for the Icarus and Jelinek graphic novels, !Library for Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, my D&D 5e sourcebook and adventure, Greyshade KS, there it is, I was trying to remember, for the Greyshade Kickstarter details. That's going to be starting February 2nd, 2021, but again, more details about that to come. And of course, most importantly, BLM, Black Lives Matter. Again, I've been focusing quite a bit on this and will continue to do so as we continue to find resources, both ways to donate and ways to be educated and ways to further the conversation about Black Lives Matter. Very important both for this channel and for everybody, I hope, but definitely important for this channel as well. We are going to do a raid today, actually, and we have a new person to raid that I'm excited about because I didn't actually know this person was streaming. So, and I'm going to make an exception. I normally don't do this, but I will tell you all who we're going to be raiding this time. Just please don't go there yet, okay? Because I want to make sure that we do this all at the same time. Also because I want to make sure this person is still actually streaming. Let's see. Yes. So I didn't realize this, but the person that we are going to be rating today is actually none other than Valerie Valdez, who you will see next Sunday on this very channel as a part of the Blades in the Dark Twitch Speculate joint stream. Valerie Valdez is, of course, an author and obviously a gamer and player, and is playing right now Dragon Age Inquisition on Twitch, and I didn't even realize that she streamed, frankly. So we're going to be able to go over and give her a raid. I think it's very appropriate to do that. So when you do that, if you are not a sub, please put that message in. You can just copy and paste if you like. The Arvanauts have landed, which is Arvanauts have landed, and then Twitch raid, lowercase Twitch, uppercase R, lowercase AID. And if you are a sub, you can go here and do this. Arvany Hype, then the Arvanauts have landed, and then Twitch Raid, and then Arvany Roar. And you can put in Arvany Smug and Arvany Love and all the Arvanys if you want to do that as well. But that is going to do it for us. Remember, tomorrow, Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, Sod returns with a Grumbler's Guide to the Temple of Elemental Evil. And then, as I said, big tabletop week to come, starting off what we had tonight with our amazing crew of players and GM for Soundclash the Clampdown. That's going to do it for me. Thanks, everyone. Stick around for the raid, and I will see all of you lovely people Monday evening for Sod and that awesome game of Temple of Elemental Evil. Until then, everyone be good to each other. As Brandon said, keep the frequency in your hearts. I like that sign off. But be good to each other, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Oh, I forgot to do what I almost always do. Very quickly, my wonderful mods, Rudnell, Rock God, Shadow Mage, subscribers, Rudnell, Rock God, Shadow Mage, Crit Twitch, The Rising Tides, Trishy Metz, and Villain Vicencio. And then, of course, the wonderful viewers, Foreka, another TT viewer, Brahms, Commander Root, ECAG, Foxy by Proxy, Garlic Tofu, Gigafrost Gorgar, Lurks, Macaroni K, Kuhn Fog Kits, I believe, REM Speedwagon, still love that name, Remastino, U Christensen, and Virgo Praz. And then a special thanks today to the players and the GM. I didn't miss it. I still have not missed it. So that's the deal with that. Thanks, everyone. Much love. Everyone be good to each other, and I'll see you Monday night. Stick around for the raid. Bye for now.